Imagine watching your first soccer match. 22 people, one ball, and somehow every single player knows exactly where to be. It looks like organized chaos, but it isn't chaos at all. Every player on that field has a specific job, a specific patch of grass they're responsible for, and a specific reason they're standing exactly where they're standing. And once you understand that, soccer stops being confusing and starts being one of the most beautiful sports on the planet. So today I'm going to break down every single soccer position on the field in plain English, so the next World Cup match you watch actually makes sense. No confusing jargon, no fake expert talk, just the real thing. Let's start with the guy nobody wants to be, the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper is the last line of defense. He stands in front of the goal, and he is the only player on the entire field allowed to use his hands, and only inside a specific rectangle called the penalty box. Step outside that box with the ball in his hands and it's a foul. Here's the wild part. Modern goalkeepers aren't just shot stoppers anymore. The best ones in the world play with their feet like a midfielder. They pass, they dribble out of pressure, they even start attacks. Watch a top team play and the goalkeeper will touch the ball more than some of his own attackers. Wild, right? 100 years ago, all he did was stand there and catch the ball. Now he's basically an 11th outfield player who happens to wear gloves. All right. Behind the goalkeeper, no one. In front of him, the defense. The defense is usually 4 players. 2 center backs in the middle and 2 fullbacks, one on each side of the field. Left and right, the 2 center backs are the wall. They're tall, they're strong, and their entire job is to stop the other team from scoring. They block shots, they win headers, they tackle attackers before they get anywhere near the goal. Think of them like offensive linemen in football. But instead of protecting a quarterback, they're protecting a goal. Now, the fullbacks, on the sides, those two have completely changed in the last 20 years. Back in the day, their job was purely defensive. Stop the attacker on your side. Boring. Simple. Done. Today, they sprint the entire length of the field. Attack, defend, for 90 minutes straight. They're some of the fittest athletes in the entire sport. If soccer had an Iron Man award, it would go to a fullback. Okay, defense sorted, let's move up the field. Next up, the midfield. And this is where soccer gets genuinely interesting. The midfield is the engine room. 3, sometimes 4 players stationed between the defense and the attack. They're not the ones scoring most of the goals. They're not the ones stopping most of the shots. Their job is to control everything in between. And here's the surprising part, it's actually the hardest job on the field. Because a great midfielder has to defend, attack, pass, tackle, and think faster than everyone else on the pitch for the entire 90 minutes. It's why the best midfielders in the world are often the most expensive players in the world, even though they don't put up huge stats. What they do doesn't fit on a scoreboard. Now within the midfield, there are 3 main types. First, the defensive midfielder. This guy sits just in front of the defense. He breaks up attacks before they even get dangerous. He passes the ball to the more creative players. He's a shield. Fans call him the number 6. A boring nickname for a genuinely underrated player. Second, the box-to-box midfielder. This is the guy running like a maniac from one end of the field to the other, defending 1 second, attacking the next. If you've ever wondered how a soccer player can run 7 or 8 miles in one match, this is the guy running 7 or 8 miles every game. Third, the attacking midfielder, sometimes called the number 10. This is the artist, the creator, the player who threads impossible passes through the defense to set up goals. He plays right behind the strikers, and if he's having a good day, his team usually wins. All right, now the fun part. The attackers, the guys who actually put the ball in the net. Up top, you usually have 3 attackers, 1 in the middle, 1 on each side. The player in the middle is the striker, the goal scorer. This is the guy on every jersey in every shop window. His job is one thing and one thing only: score. That's it. That's the entire job description. When he doesn't score, he's failing. Brutal, but true. Now the 2 players on the sides are called wingers. And this is where soccer got weird in the last decade. Traditionally, a winger stayed on his side of the field, ran fast, and crossed the ball to the striker. Simple. Today, the best wingers in the world cut into the middle and score more goals than most strikers. Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo, the 2 most famous names in the sport, both technically played as wingers for most of their careers. Not strikers, wingers. Rewriting the rulebook of what that position even means. So let's zoom out. That's the standard shape. 1 goalkeeper, 4 defenders, 3 midfielders, 3 attackers. Written as 4-3-3, and every team on earth uses some version of this or bends it into something like 4-4-2 or 3-5-2, depending on the coach's philosophy. But once you understand the basic roles, every formation is just a remix of the same 11 jobs. And here's something almost nobody teaches you. Watch the same 11 players at the World Cup, and half of them will be playing completely different roles than they play for their club team back home. Because at the club, they play alongside teammates every week. At the World Cup, They've had 2 weeks of practice together, the formations look the same on paper, but the roles have to bend. That's why the tournament is unpredictable, and it's why some of the biggest stars in the world have terrible World Cups. The system doesn't always fit them. So, quick recap. Goalkeeper stops the ball. Center backs are the wall. Fullbacks run the sidelines. Midfielders control everything in between. Strikers score. Wingers used to cross the ball. Now they score too. 11 positions, 1 ball, 1 beautiful game. If you're planning to watch the 2026 World Cup, now you actually know what you're looking at. And if you found this useful, subscribe. I'm decoding all the confusing parts of soccer, one video at a time, right in time for the tournament. See you in the next one.